Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the Steve Kenyon Podcast. I'm Steve Kenyon. Coming up, we'll talk to Billie Bray, the Chief Marketing Officer at Equibrand. That's Classic Ropes, Classic Equine, and so many other great companies. And now she has just been named as the Pam Minick Lifetime Achievement Award winner by the Women's Rodeo World Championships. And Billie has some really insightful thoughts about where we're going, how we are growing in the world of professional rodeo. She looks at the numbers from the standpoint of a business person, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what Billie has to say. We're sponsored by Wrangler, by the Justin Boot Company, by Resistol. Thank you to Equinity, teamequinity.com, to M2 Ranch Jerky, and to the Cuban Hay Company, to Rodeo Life Magazine, to Next Gen Rodeo, and of course the Cowboy Channel, and to Classic Equine and Classic Ropes. Coming up, we'll talk to Billie Bray, the Pam Minick Lifetime Achievement Award winner from the Women's Rodeo World Championships.
Hi, I'm Trevor Brazil, 26-time PRCA World Champion Cowboy. If you want to keep your horse at the top of their game, you need to have the Equinity Edge. I use Equinity because it's all about the horse. It helps with the longevity and overall maintenance of my horses. Team Equinity is challenging you to try Equinity Horse XL for the next 30 days and beyond. Watch how your horse transforms both in look and feel. To do this, go to teamequinity.com to get started.
For 145 years, Justin has crafted boots tailored for life in the dirt, accompanying your every step with reliability and quality. Whether in the arena lights or long days on the job, our boots are an integral part of your team. With a storied history, our boots echo through generations, connecting the past, present, and ensuring the same quality that we built our name on. Find your boots at justinboots.com.
Women's Rodeo World Championships are going on, and the WRWC has made a major announcement about a lady who has given back an awful lot to the Western way of life, the rodeo industry, and beyond. The Pam Minick recipient, the Pam Minick Award recipient for 2025. Women's Rodeo World Championships are going on, and the WRWC has made a major announcement about a lady who has given back an awful lot to the Western way of life, the rodeo industry, and beyond. The Pam Minick recipient, the Pam Minick Award recipient for 2025. Women's Rodeo World Championships are going on, and the WRWC has made a major announcement about a lady who has given back an awful lot to the Western way of life, the rodeo industry, and beyond. The Pam Minick recipient, the Pam Minick Award recipient for 2025 is Billie Bray, and the Pam Minick Award is named after, of course, the great Pam Minick, who's headed into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame this year. The Pam Minick Lifetime Achievement Award, a prestigious honor given to a female leader who has made outstanding contributions to the field of women's sports and has committed her life to supporting and elevating cowgirls. I can't think of a better person to receive this award than Billie Bray, and Billie joins us. Billie, welcome. Congratulations. So tell me about when you found out that the WCRA, or WRWC, I should say, had decided to honor you.
Well, I found out in a conference call. We usually have conference calls every so often to kind of touch base on the sponsorship, the sport, just have a conversation, and they had announced it to me on the conference call. So honestly, pretty shocked. I kind of still am pretty shocked that, I would receive a award like that. The title's pretty intimidating, and Pam Minick is really intimidating, but I am very honored, really appreciative, and I'm just really honored.
Oh, I don't think Pam's intimidating. I just think she's a trailblazer. She's, and you mentioned Pam. Let's talk about being in a high-rent neighborhood. 2023, Pam Minick received this award. It's named in her honor. 2024, Reba McEntire. 2025, Billie Bray. I mean, that's the penthouse right there, Billie.
Yeah, that's what I said. A little intimidating. I think I can say that Pam is a huge standard for us in the industry. I have nothing but a lot of respect for Pam in all ways. She is everywhere, all the time. Smile, positive attitude, getting everybody organized. A leader, tough. Has been through a lot. Comes back, better than ever. Competitor. I just can't say enough. And then Reba is like on a platform all of her own. So yeah, it is quite an honor, and it is a little intimidating. I'm going to say that word again because it is. Those are really two iconic people in the industry. They've done a lot in our industry in a lot of ways. I mean, Reba is just amazing, and even toward the end of her career, walks up to the Super Bowl wearing a gold buckle, which was just, how awesome that she would do that for us in the Western industry.
Yeah, I want to read a paragraph from the press release that the WRWC sent out. Bray's relationship with Pam Minick has spanned years of shared experiences as both athletes and businesswomen. One of their most cherished memories was competing in team roping together and earning the title of reserve champions at the Wendy Ryan in 2007. This personal bond makes the recognition even more meaningful. What do you remember about that?
Well, Pam and I were partners for several years, quite a few years. And honestly, it was probably my favorite partner ever is because of the fun that we had, that we got to go and compete and be together, visit. And there was no, we just had a good time. And we were very, 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 very competitive. But we still could just have a great time. I just think that those are the best memories ever. Back in the day, we only had about 3 or 4 all-girl ropings that we all went to. And we, in the early years, when I first moved to Texas, Pam was a really big part of WPRA, and she was trying to have jackpots around here and trying to get the, roping established within WPRA. Her and Debbie worked so hard. People don't realize how much she has done behind the scenes with, the WPRA or any of the Wendy Ryan all-girl to all that stuff, all that grassroots stuff. Pam was a huge part of all of that, huge part. She just come in and bring in sponsors. She produced the events. She did the whole deal for us to even have, quote, a quote, all-girl. So yeah. I would have to give her credit at the very beginning for us even getting to say the word all-girl roping. I mean, really, she's the one that was the instigator, the trailblazer, the whatever, and then we all got to kind of follow, and then it kind of broke off in its areas. USJRC had one, and the Wildfire had one, and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, the really true beginning was Pam.
For those of you who don't know Billie, currently the chief marketing officer of Equibrand, which is her family's business, where her passion for rodeo, I'm reading from the press release again, Billie, because it says it better than I can, where her passion for rodeo and business has left an indelible mark on the industry. Equibrand, iconic brands like Classic Rope, Rattler Rope, Classic Equine, Martin Saddlery, and along with your husband, Ken, who you have given back, whether it's Texas High School Rodeo, whether it's the PRCA, the WPRA, now the WRWC, and you've got 2 sons who are 2 of my favorite people on the planet. I don't know if Wyatt and Peyton know how much I think of them, but 2 awesome team ropers, and they're all right, and pretty nice kids too, Billie. Talk about just giving back. I mean, I know, I think the first time I ever interviewed Ken, your husband, he was talking about high school rodeo. He was the president of the Texas High School Rodeo Association, if I remember right. You guys have done a lot.
Well, he's still a part of Texas High School Rodeo. He is a past president, but he is still had a tour yesterday to Abilene to get ready to set it up, and will be a part of the setup crews of building all of the arenas and the dirt and the week before the rodeo even starts. So yeah, he's still big into giving back to the Texas High School Rodeo. I think that our roles at Equibrand has evolved. I've been there over 32 years, and I think at the very beginning, we were just trying to be a sponsor somewhere, and then I think as it kind of evolved, sponsorships for me in the last probably 10 years, I would say 10 or 15 years, probably 15, 20 years, I guess you could say, has changed. I think sponsorships is more of a relationship. It's you got to learn, what their needs are, what their events are going to be, what their membership is, and once you have the relationship about each one of these sponsors, what I find is, the good things that each one of the sponsors that I go to or work with might work for then another group. And so that's the fun part, is running back and forth in sharing practices that work and building relationships and making the events better. if all the events are better, we all win. I mean, everybody wins, not just us. I mean, we want more people to throw hay over the fence. We want more people to want to compete. We want more people in the industry. That's great for everybody, but it's great for our industry. I mean, we want to have the largest event at Las Vegas, the NFR, and everything. That's kind of what I call the center of our industry is the NFR. There's 350,000 people that go to the Vegas and come to the NFR, and then all of the, everything in our industry sort of feeds off of each other, and then we all kind of end up at Vegas or the cutting finals or the reining finals. I think that, the whole industry as a whole, we just want it to grow. That's what's good for all of us. That's what keeps you in a day job, keeps us in a day job. But that's what we all have to have, people throwing hay over the fence and wanting to compete.
And I really think, and you and I have talked about this before, I really believe that our Western way of life, and it's not just rodeo, it's the PBR, it's cutting, it's reining, it's rein cow horses. It's, I really feel like we're on an upswing right now. I really feel like the country is embracing what we are offering. And do you feel that way too?
Yeah, I would agree. I went to Abilene to Western Heritage on Friday, and I mean, I was there Friday morning-ish, and I could hardly park. So just to see the people there that were walking around on a Friday afternoon shopping and going to the ranch versatility events within the main arena. I was just talking about it on the phone right before you called, but there is a lot of participation. CJ at the Southwest, cow horse, the boxing, and the down the fence and all of that, he's up 25%. I just think that, the God, patriotism, family is very attractive right now. And I think that it should be. And I think a lot of it is to do with our leadership, Trump coming back into our lives and letting us be proud of God, patriotism, and family. And I think that affects our sport.
Yeah, I agree totally. Lindsay Rosser-Sumter, whom you know, is the Women's Rodeo World Championships Commissioner. And she said Billie's impact on on the WRWC runs deep. She was one of the original cowgirls whom the PBR and WCRA approached with the concept of creating the WRWC. She goes on to say that you were a champion of the idea of inclusion and growth of the challenger classification, which gives a lot of, I'm not sure what the appropriate word is. I don't want to say weekend contestants, but maybe people who have jobs and lives and also want to compete, an opportunity to run at some big money. What was it that attracted you about the idea of the WRWC?
Well, it was a phone call that I got and asked me if I would meet, and I just thought it was really impressive that, number one, I mean, technically PBR and that group doesn't do anything without research. So the research, their research, and of course, the research that I live in, said that women were important to our industry, and they really are. The number one and number two event from junior high clear to college, junior high, high school, college is barrels breakaway, number one by a long ways, actually. I mean, it's bigger than calf roping, it's bigger than team roping, way bigger than bulldogging. I mean, I'm nothing against those other events. I didn't say that, but I am saying it is a number thing. The numbers are telling you that they are the two largest by a long ways. Well, that is where you can have growth. When you invest in that, you have growth, you have opportunity for growth. And it's because you have numbers that are coming up, and that's why you pick those events, is because we have numbers coming up to fill what they're doing. And I think that was really impressive. The second thing is it was a huge push on the challengers, because we had used 40 to 45,000 active ropers. Well, 80% of them is a number 5 and below. Well, that's your core customer. You're very familiar with the barrel world. There's a racers, but you would have to say the core barrel racer is a 3, 4, 5D, not 1, 2D. Yeah. So that's where your numbers are at. And so for them to let the breakaway have a limited and a challenger really allows that sport to grow, is because girls have to come into it and work their way up. You don't go to the cutting and just go enter the open. You're in all of these intermediate levels and work your way up in every sport. And really, if you looked at breakaway, it's the only sport that had junior high, then it had high school, it had college, and then you were just open pro. So for them to give the opportunity to the sport of breakaway, they could have the limited and the challengers, what that sport needed. Of course, we already had it in the barrel race, and the way they can do the divisions there is because barrel racers grow up in 4 or 5D barrel races every weekend. You know that. I know that. That's why you can have a barrel race.
Yep.
And the sport of team roping, those girls have roped. If they've team roped, they've roped their lives being numbered and roping in all kinds of jackpots all winter long in Arizona, everywhere. So they had it, but really breakaway needed it to have the growth that they needed. And the WCRA Women's Rodeo World Championship team really embraced that, and I think that sport really needed that. That's because all the rest of them have it. They just needed to have it also.
Yeah. I had the privilege of announcing the National Finals breakaway roping last year in Las Vegas. One time in my life, I'll get to announce the NFR next to Bob Tallman. And we were talking about it, and I think, since breakaway kind of all of a sudden started to explode, and the American added it, and Cheyenne added it, and all these other big rodeos added it, and now what the WRWC is doing and all. The thing that has been really, I think, impressive about the breakaway roping is not so much that everybody decided to add it, but it's that, in my opinion, the women who are competing have done a great job taking care of their event. They don't turn out. They show up. They've made it exactly what we tried to market it as, which was fast, impressive. They put on the show they promised they were going to put on. I think they've done a great job taking care of their event.
Yeah, I think they've done outstanding. I just think they've done outstanding. I think that the NFR situation and being at South Point on a Tuesday, Wednesday in the middle of the afternoon is a pretty hard ticket to sell, and they do a great job of selling, a one event on an afternoon on a Tuesday, Wednesday. That's a pretty tough ticket. I wish that they would have a bigger platform. I'll say it all day long, is because they are a great customer. I keep saying the numbers, but man, you look underneath the hood and go junior high, high school, college, those numbers are telling us that there's a lot of potential here. We got to take care of the customers. So it's hard for me. I live in the world of for-profit. I live in the world of capitalism. I live in the world of, making a living. And, it's a common sense move to me that you got to take care of the customer. And they're the customer. And they do a great job. But that timed event in and our rodeo timed event in is so important to our industry because of what they spend to do their discipline. Every single one of them. If I was to haul Payton and Wyatt to be where they're at today, I wouldn't have spent a penny less or more. If I would have hauled a girl, I would have spent the same money, and to be treated differently. I'm not quite understanding that, because that what I had to spend or what we've spent as a family to be a top roper, that breakaway mom and dad spent the same. They didn't spend any different than what the team roper, the calf roper, the bulldog or whatever. They've spent the same to get there. It's a great customer. I'm just going to here to say that, we got to take care of the customer.
Yeah. What's next? How do we continue to grow all of this, Billie? What are your thoughts on that?
I think what they're doing, they have 800,000 added to this. And I think if, and they have a huge platform, AT&T Stadium. I mean, I think they're doing great things to grow it. Their TV coverage, their production, everything here is just bar none amazing. I mean, I watched it yesterday just on the Cowboy Channel, and I just think the production, everything about it is awesome. The announcing, all that they don't hold anything back. And I really appreciate what they do. I hope that, the girls can really embrace it of, nominating where they're at and competing where they're at and being able to come here and rope in a finals at this magnitude. I really hope that there is nothing but growth.
Yeah, I agree with you. Billie Bray is joining us, the recipient of the Women's Rodeo World Championships Pam Minick Lifetime Achievement Award. And you got that award over the last few days. Were you surprised? Did you know it was coming? Did you have any idea this was on its way?
No, I had no idea at all. Usually we call, we're always talking about what's going on in the industry, and we just have good visits, just like you and I talk. We just have good visits, and I had no idea. I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh wow, like I said, I wasn't sure if the title was more intimidating, if it was Pam Minick. There was quite a bit of intimidation there.
Yeah. Okay, here's Steve's dumb question in the interview. You know who you sound a little bit like sometimes when I listen to you talk, and he's not talking so much about women as he's talking about timed events in general and their impact on the rodeo business, is Bob Feist. And I don't know if you and Bob have ever had this conversation, but Bob is constantly talking about, look, we've got to remember the timed event side of the arena, whether it's the breakaway ropers or the barrel racers or the team ropers or whatever. Those are the people that really kind of support. In a lot of ways, those people support our industry. And I think I agree with him. They're buying the trailers. They're buying the saddles. They're buying the ropes. They're buying the splint boots and the bell boots and the hay and the feed. I mean, I nothing against the guys in the riding events. I love them. They're some of my best friends. But there is something to this reality that in the timed event side of the arena really is, I mean, they've had a kind of a major impact on your business. I'm sure you can tell me that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it, and I think so has Bob nailed it. I think that I love rough stock. I'll give them all day long. They sell the rodeo ticket, and they're what rodeo is all about. I give it all to them. But our industry is living off of the timed event, and the timed event is, again, you play in the barrel world. You know what your feed bill is. You know what your shoeing bill is. You know what trailers are costing. You know entry fees. I mean, you know what you're in it. But every single family from the junior high, junior rodeos, junior high, high school, college, I was trying to do an economic impact of a timed event in person. I have never really got it fine tuned, but in my whole mind, I'd like to do, the average cost of, getting a kid, whether it be a boy or a girl, to catch 10 in a row at home and to win its first check. You can't imagine what they got to spend at home just to get to there, let alone being competitive, and then let alone getting a college scholarship. So it's just, thank God that, they throw hay over the fence and have passion to want to do that, because that is such a commitment to a family to want to be competitive. And we do need to embrace it and take care of that customer, because they are the reason why we all have a day job.
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. The one thing that Pam Minick, Reba McEntire, and Billie Bray all have in common, you kind of come at things from three different perspectives in life, in terms of, where you've had your major accomplishments, but you've all set a shining example for women in rodeo, for that little girl that wants to grow up and be a world champion breakaway roper, barrel racer, who thinks she can team rope with the boys. Who thinks she can beat the boys, who probably can beat the boys. You guys have said it. You ladies have set a shining example for those girls, I think.
Well, I appreciate that, and I really do believe that about Pam and Reba for sure. I have so much respect for Pam as a friend, but also just as her energy to do the right thing and get it done and make things happen is amazing.
You ever met Reba, Billy?
No, I think real briefly with maybe Mike Ingram at the NFR one time, just a quick handshake. I haven't got to spend any time. She really intrigues me.
Me too.
There's several of those women in that industry that are very intriguing. Dolly Parton is just kind of, to me, known for giving back to she's a giver backer, it seems like, and Reba is definitely a trailblazer in her own way. I think it's really interesting, and I really appreciate the fact that Lainey Wilson, does take endorsements from Charlie One Horse and Wrangler and represents the industry. You kind of got off on a road here, but I'm really glad that they pay tribute to our industry.
Yeah, I agree. Billy, congratulations. Well deserved. the more I think about this, the more I think there's probably not a better person who could have received this award than you. I appreciate all of your help and all of your support. I appreciate the fact that your family and I have gotten to be friends, and I sure am happy for you to receive this well-deserved honor.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you and all your work. You're kind of the stats guy, which I really relate to. I really like that. I appreciate all the work that you do.
Well, thanks, Billie. I appreciate your time. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend, and safe travels. We'll see you somewhere soon, I hope.
Okay. All right.
Thanks to Billie Bray for her time, and thank you to Classic Ropes and Classic Equine for bringing you our featured interviews on the Steve Kenyon Podcast, brought to you by Wrangler, by Resistol, by the Justin Boot Company, by Equinity, online at teamequinity.com, by Cubitt Hay Company, and M2 Ranch Jerky, M2-Ranch.com. If you'd like to order some great jerky from M2 Ranch Jerky. Thank you to the Grandview at Las Vegas, the place we stay during the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, to Next Gen Rodeo, and to the Cowboy Channel. I'm headed to Miles City, Montana. World famous bucking horse sale is this week. Hope to bump into some of you while I'm in the beautiful eastern part of the Big Sky Country. God bless everybody. Thanks for listening. This is the Steve Kenyon Podcast.